Marvelous. I don't think you and I like to be sold a bill of goods and then get a bag of potatoes, but sometimes that seems to be the case here on the Sports Cubicle with the marvelous one, Dan Marver, Devin Tingle, Paul Chivari, myself, Mike Mercado here on WCPT 820 AM. And we got a message. Well, the Cub fans did. The entire city of Chicago from both Tom Ricketts and Jed Hoyer talking about this could be like 2014. That we're going to spend money. That it looks like this organization is taking a turn. And you and I have talked about how they've played really good baseball this second half. They developed some pitching. There are rumors about them spending some money. But do you really want to hear about it, or do you want to see action being taken? Or are you like me where something being said is action being taken? Where are you at when all this came out?
I believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
You know, right now they have a record of 55-72, despite the fact they've played winning baseball since the All-Star game. They're now 18 games out of first, and they're 14 and a half games out of the wild card. So that's a lot of improving to do, despite their improvement. The amazing thing to me has been the pitching. They really have been getting amazing pitching out of the bullpen for the most part. Starting pitching has really been good. Overall, Steele got hurt, unfortunately, and they've had some other injuries, but once again, they had a quality start yesterday. So that's important to get good starting pitching. And as we mentioned before, every bullpen piece was pretty much sold off during the trade deadline, and they were left with a lot of people who were unproven. And the one that was left didn't do so well yesterday. Wick, he took the loss. So and then it was good to see Rodriguez come back. He was a possible closer a year or so ago, and he came back, and so that's another piece. And Hughes has been very good from the left side. So out of the bullpen, they've been okay, despite the fact that they traded away a guy that looked like the best closer in the league, Robertson, and last year Kimbrel. So hopefully they will be able to use some of these younger players. I mean, they talk about Davis and Crow Armstrong and whatever. And again, we have to see it to believe it. You never know what's going to happen. And I think that pretty soon we're going to see those guys. Yeah. I think, next year for sure, integrating into the lineup, but it looks like they're pretty well set in the corner outfield with Happ and Suzuki for time to come and catching. And, the other pieces, Wisdom's hurt now. So, and it's Madrigal's been solid at second, and Horner's been amazing at short.
Horner's been great.
I don't know, what pieces they need, but I'm saying more pitching. You can never have enough pitching if they're going to go free agency.
You talk about prove it. I'll believe it when I see it. Go give me Jacob deGrom. Go give me Jacob deGrom. If you really want to be about it and you want to put that rotation, you want your John Lester. You don't want Justin Steele to have to be, the catalyst of all this. You want to make sure that Keegan Thompson is able to develop the right way. Albert Alzolay isn't the get Jacob deGrom. Make Marcus Stroman your 2 or 3. Bring back Kyle Hendricks nice and healthy. Then all of a sudden we're talking. I like Carlos Correa. I love Trey Turner. I love both of these dudes. But you want to be serious about it, go get the best pitcher in baseball. And I think that's where we're at as Cub fans. But if you don't, go get the second best free agent in the pitching stands, and then go get Trey Turner or Carlos Correa. And then figure out what you're going to do with a Nico Horner. Figure out what you're going to do with Magical. Ian Happ has proven that he's got a year. Not only does he have a year left, but that he's developed on both sides of the plate, that he's a very competent MLB hitter. And you got to figure out what you're going to do with Wilson. But there are pieces around here. And if you make a free agency signing here or there, you might mess around. I do think this team has a chance to win the NL if everything that they're saying is true. And they land one of the top 2 positional players, one of the top 2 pitchers. They can win the NL Central because this NL Central isn't good.
Well, Hendricks is only 32. And I know that seems hard to believe.
Because he's been playing forever at this point. And that's the thing, too. It's something that we've mentioned about the White Sox where you can't hold on too long. You can't keep trying to run the same experiment and hoping for different results. That's the definition of insanity. And for the Cubs, they figured that out too late, and now they're figuring out right now. We can't just buy pitching and hope for development of position. We got to do both. We got to have assets for both. We can't just get rid of and deflate the entire farm system for one guy. But for a lot of these guys, it's money being spent now. So they have the money to do it. Prove it to us.
And you never know. If you get in a position to win, like the Sox have, and we'll let the other guys talk about it, and you underperform, that's pretty disappointing too. So it just goes to show you they're in a weak division Central. So are we. So those divisions can be won. The Sox can win the division. They're 4 and something out. So I think we do have a chance to win the division in the next year or two in the NL Central.
I agree.
Although I hate the schedule, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
They're up to 13 games against their own division. Instead, it's a 19 now. It's going to go to 13. Originally, they said 10. The Cubs are playing exactly one series in St. Louis next year, and that's disgusting.
That is marvelous. That is a conversation about baseball, trying to do something slick and messing it up. There's a way that you can introduce all these teams to different markets without doing something like that and ending the season in the beginning of September against the division, but outside of the division in the end of September. We'll break that down as the season goes on, because that's going to be there's going to be plenty of stuff that's going to change this winter, and I think that's one that's on top of the list. But
schedules came out, and it bothers me.
But I want to, before we leave, I want to just leave you with this, just rapid, really fast. Your thoughts. One, does Rick Hahn, if the White Sox do not make the playoffs, or at the very least, the White Sox don't make it to the pennant, does Rick Hahn get fired or moved up? Does Tony La Russa get fired or moved up?
I don't think that Reinsdorf wanted to have him fired twice, but it looks like that's going to happen. Although it could be, I'm going to retire.
It is.
That's the solution. Hahn is on shaky ground too, but I don't know whose fault is it. Ultimately, it's the players on the field.
It's Jerry's fault.
Or the medical staff.
Well, don't get me started. How do they have so many hamstring issues? You know what? We don't get paid for that. Let the boys handle that. We want to know your thoughts about this crazy MLB season. We're on Twitter at Sports Cubicle TV. It's the marvelous one, Dan Marver. It's Devin Tingle. It's Paul Chivari. I'm Mike Mercado.